Ask us anything about self-worth and inner peace. Mended Light.
That's what inner peace looks like, right? Sitting there saying,
Every television show I've ever watched would say yes.
Okay.
Welcome to Ask Us Anything, where we put it to you, our Mended Light community. What are your burning questions about self-worth and inner peace? And boy, howdy, did you respond. So we're going to answer the things that you asked us.
Question 1, will I ever be good enough for anyone? I have so many thoughts. So here's the thing. It is a human response to feel like you're not good enough.
Yeah.
That is a human experience that we can all relate to, number 1. Number 2, the way we come by that so honestly is through actions for sure, and sometimes words, depending on the home or the environment you grew up in. You were taught conditional love. Yeah. Which is conditional acceptance, which is conditional belonging. And that's not to say that your parents and your caregivers didn't genuinely love you.
Yeah.
That is to say they didn't know how to show what I would call real love, right? Or unconditional love.
Well, and real love, Dr. Greg Bear in his book series, Real Love, that's where we pull this from.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just throw it out shorthand because we love it so much, but that's where that idea comes from.
Yeah. So in our membership site, we did a podcast on his book, Real Love and PTSD, one of my top 10 favorite therapy-related books.
Yeah.
And we also have a course called Being at Peace.
Yes.
And we talk about the crucial part, showing yourself real love, giving real love, and receiving real love is in finding peace.
Yeah.
And we also talk about in our personalities course, the things we tend to tie our worth to, the things that we value, that we then say, oh, my worth is attached to doing XYZ things. And then our worth is out here. And it turns us into a marionette puppet. Right? Mm-hmm. Where we say, oh, me belonging and me having value and me being worthy is attached to whether or not I experience social acceptance from friends or family. It's attached to whether or not my kids are doing okay or my loved ones are doing okay. It's attached to whether or not I've accomplished my goals, or it's attached to me knowing the answers or being right or being respected. And that's just broad generalities for each of the personality types. And in our personalities course, we have a lesson specifically on what you tie your worth to. And so if that's something you're interested in, there's a link below to take that course for free. But it is such the human experience, one, to experience conditional love, to then completely unconsciously tie our worth to things outside of ourselves. Yeah. And then 3, spend our entire lives trying to earn our worth. And that is like running on a treadmill and expecting to get at a destination of belonging, a destination of worthiness. And our opportunity, our huge growth opportunity in life is to cut those worth ties if we choose to, and bring our worth and our innate belonging right back to our center, right back to who we are. And I believe that is the first great lesson that all of us have the opportunity to learn in this life's journey.
I'm just feeling testified.
And life is going to provide you with the opportunities to cut those worth ties. And it's going to bump up against them. And at times you are going to feel like a marionette puppet that's being jerked around. And for me, the way this showed up in my life in a really big way was 10 years ago when I was pregnant with my 4th child and 2nd daughter, and I was almost completely incapacitated. And my entire life, I had earned my worth and my belonging by my achievements.
I feel so useless.
And I grew up in a home that was very much oriented that way. And then my personality, my natural personality was also very much oriented that way. And then I had this life experience where I couldn't do hardly anything physically. And I just laid on the couch like day after day being like, I'm worthless. Yeah. I'm worthless. And even though cognitively I knew that that wasn't true, in my heart I felt that. And that was a huge life lesson that was born out of that experience. And so, will I ever be good enough for anyone? That question is a question, one, we struggle with. All of us do. Mm-hmm. And two, it is a journey to go on to realize that you won't find belonging by trying to earn your worth.
Yeah. Well, and I would add to all of that, will I ever be good enough for anyone? You already are.
Yeah.
You already are. It just comes down to, do you see it enough to not take crap from people who don't see it? I mean, you could be the best butcher in the world, but if you're hanging out with vegans, they're not going to appreciate you. Or you could be the best farmer in the world, but if you're hanging out with butchers, they may not see your worth.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
I feel that my value is what I can do for others, yet no matter how much I do, it isn't enough. I have built a life where I'm surrounded by people who love me, but I never feel worthy of that love. What should I do?
So it sounds like in this case, you're surrounded by people who love you, see your worth. You don't accept your worth. You don't accept their love. The biggest issue here then is what Alicia's talking about. Yeah. What do you tie your worth to? You tie your worth to, can I be of service? And it sounds like you are of service. But because there are still problems, because the people you care about still have suffering, you have taken responsibility for that. And I can't get rid of it all, and I can't comfort it all, and I can't fix it all, so I'm a failure. And when I say it out loud, I hope you see how insurmountable and unrealistic that is. Mm-hmm. All you can do is all you can do. Your worth already exists. And good for you, you're surrounded by people who see it. All you need to do is embrace it. It is hard, as a healer, to see people you love suffer. You want to take it away. You want to comfort them. You want to fix it.
Well, and there's an analogy I would like to use. Okay. At least this is the way it feels to me, right? That anyone trying to earn their worth, trying to earn their belonging, like it's climbing a massive mountain, right?
Yeah.
And at the top of the mountain is a beautiful white castle, but it's a facade, right? And so a facade is not real. And so you get there and you look at the beautiful white castle, and then you go inside and it's empty. And you're like, what did I just climb this mountain for? Right?
Gains.
Gains. And so you're never going to get to a place of like, oh, I've served enough. I've achieved enough. Like as long as you're trying to earn your worth and belonging, like you will never arrive. And the desire that you have to serve other people is wonderful. And the desire that you have to accomplish great things is wonderful. Like those are the values that make us who we are, mm-hmm. right? And that motivate us as much as motivation is a fair weather friend to do good and great and wonderful things and to bless the world around us. And so the goal isn't to give up what we value. The goal is to separate our innate worth from what we value.
Right. That if I can help everybody, then I'll have worth, as opposed to, I already have worth, let's see how many people I can help. Huge difference.
Last question. How can I actually want to help myself? How can I care enough about myself to change? Sometimes it feels like, what's the point?
I can speak to this one from personal experience. What freed me to really love and care about myself was stripping away judgment and shame and recognizing that I was already enough, mm-hmm. and I already had the worth, and I was deserving of love, even with my mistakes and even with my flaws. I had to come to terms with the fact that I believe that other people have weaknesses, and other people make mistakes, and other people do things they regret, and I still love them.
So it was acceptable for other people, just not you.
Just not for me. And deciding to give that to myself made all the difference. Things that I'd worked for years to change, that I couldn't seem to get out of the rut, once I started saying, you know what, I'm going to change not because I hate myself, but because I love myself. I was at the gym the other day, and there's a sign in the gym that I go to that says, exercise not because you hate your body, but because you love your body. Think about that for a second and apply that to your mind, your soul, your life. Exercise yourself, right? Grow not because you hate yourself, but because you love yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I would recommend there. It's a shift in that perspective. How can you care enough about yourself to change? By recognizing that you're not worthless and by recognizing that you're already wonderful.
Well, and if you need support with that journey, that is exactly what our innate healing program does.
Yes.
And if you are interested in doing that,
Not if, they are.
Yes, we are.
you have options. You can do that one-on-one with one of our trauma specialists, or you can do it in a group setting.
Yes.
Right? And if that is something you're interested in, schedule a 15-minute call with a member of our team. The link is in the description below, and they're here to support you.
Well, why don't we kick this off right now?
Yeah.
Down below, share something that you love about yourself, big or small. And let's let the love in start.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you're already worthy and you already belong.
Keep shining, folks.